Rob Hatter. You are now tuned in to the Chop Shop. I'm Retro. Let's get it. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up. It's live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the Chop Shop. Yeah, it's lit in the Chop Shop. Turn your dials up in the drop top. They ain't based to debate, but they keep it fact straight. Going 30 for 30, let's do a first take on Facebook Live from 12 to 2. Rob Hatter and Jim Hicks going back and forth like Claude Ray and Skip Bayless and Stephen Smith. From on the court, off the court, straight to the field. Not a man that steals, but I made it steal. To the octagon where I fight to kill. We go face to face, then you right your wheel. I don't play tennis, but I bring the racket. I'm on the floor, I attack the basket. Put you in the casket when I'm overlapping. Never showing mercy, cause I'm always snapping. Never showing mercy when I'm in the arena. Step into the ring, he hit me as I beat him. Step into the court, I'm never backing down. Killing competition, I'm smacking down. Let me get back to the other stuff at the Chop Shop, cause they cutting up. It's Retro coming to you live to the Chop Shop. Now let's turn it up. Yeah, we in the Chop Shop, man. Shout out to Jim Hicks and Rob Hatter. You can catch the Chop Shop live from 12 to 2 on Facebook Live. Let's get it. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up. It's live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up. It's live in the Chop Shop.
H-Town, what's up? You know what time it is. It's time for the best 120 minutes of your day. The Chop Shop, the nation's #1 urban sports talk show, and also your midday sports happy hour. Yours truly, Robert Hatter, alongside Jim Hicks. He's in the dressing room. He's just off screen right now. He'll pop back in very shortly. But shoot, yeah, just as I said it, he popped up, and I can click him in. Yeah, but we're coming to you live from Houston, Texas, but we're broadcasting all over the entire world via Facebook Live and YouTube Live. Good afternoon, a baby Friday to everybody. A lot of stuff going on in sports. Let me tell my starting five: Rod Wells, Derek Johnson, T.R. Holmes, Sonia Billingsley, and Todd Holmes. Them Holmes people ain't playing no games. And they in the building. They're my starting five today. Barry McDonald, I just see you popped up on the screen. What's up, YouTube? What's up, Facebook? Let's go. Let's go. Let me tell you something. It's just so many things that I want to cover today. I still wanted, because I abbreviated what I was going to talk about the WNBA yesterday. It was Women Rock Wednesday yesterday, and we did not talk about it because soon as I got off the air, Jimmy went to talk about something else. So let me tell you something. The WNBA, they had a situation the other day, and I don't know if you know, they had. They started their season, but they started at IMG Academy. IMG Academy, I thought when I went and visited, was a nice place to visit. But in one of the hotels or one of the accommodations, the women had some bad they had bad, everything. They had rats. Hold on. They had rat traps for the big rats in the laundry room, and I'm saying, wow. And one of the young ladies showed a picture of it. I'm trying to find it for you, but she showed a picture of it. It was just so unique that they had these professional girls staying in this building, and these girls said, no, that's not. But by the way, one of the girls came on the other day, and she said they took care of it. So it's just that they did not want to be treated like second-class citizens. They took care of the accommodations, and like I said, she said, and then the WNBA had the problems with Kelly Lofton. So women, I just didn't want you to think we just glossed over it. We had it, but we just, yeah. Hey, guess what? I gave you time today. Now there's a lot of stuff going on in the NBA. I got a chance to talk to somebody. I was blessed enough to talk to somebody that was in the bubble, that happened to be in the bubble, and they were telling me about the. Let me tell you something, y'all. Y'all imagine this. Y'all help me. He said they got in yesterday. You know, kind of whispered a little bit. He said, "I'm gonna call you when I get to the hotel." I said, "Okay." So I didn't know what was going on. So, but they were on the bus coming from the plane. Once they got to that hotel, they were given a whole lot of disinfectant stuff. You know, he said he got enough wipes and hand sanitizer to last him for a year. So he got up in his room. Guess what, Jimmy? They got to stay in that room for 2 days. Can't come out the room. They got to stay quarantined. His whole team was staying on the same floor. The coaches, everybody on the same floor. And Jimmy, they were quarantined for 2 days. They can't come out. I said, well, how you eat? The people come and place your food at the door, knock 2 times, and you wait, and then they come out and you get your food. And he said, we got about 12 sets of towels and linen already. You know, I mean, he said, in case, you know, I mean, it was just, I'm just sitting there saying, you know, I was thinking, I said, oh, are them millionaires out there, Jimmy, got Ferraris and mansions, can't come out of their room for 2 days. Think about, dude, I said, well, I ain't gonna even tell y'all what this one said. I said, cause dude, you don't play video games, you don't do this. Hey man, I'll tell y'all later, Jimmy. But I said, man, I mean, it was just unbelievable that bubble. You know what he did say? He said, Robert, this might be the cleanest place on earth. He said, he said, we might be in the cleanest place on earth. And I just thought I'd share that with you because they're not going to talk about, even the news people. You notice it hadn't been no coverage. The news people, he said, we haven't seen nobody. He said the streets were clear, everybody. We ain't see nobody. So shout out to Adam Silver because I know you got one happy, not necessarily happy customer, but you got one satisfied person. And the housekeeping, I don't know, Sonya. Sonya just mentioned housekeeping. I asked him about that, but I said, ain't nobody, because I was concerned. I said, what about the people who work there and has to go home? And he said, well, we got stacks of seats, stacks of towels. We got everything. For them 2 days, they can't nobody come in them rooms. So, you know, I get some more information today. You know, I'm going to call back again and get some more information. I have y'all some more information by Monday. But they did say they were practicing on Sunday. But, Jimmy, it's some teams going to arrive today. So, guess what? They got to do the same thing, and they'll practice on Monday. So, I just thought I'd let that, because that's probably not going to be on the hoops hype and all of that kind of stuff. Them people probably don't have this information yet. So, guess what? Y'all get it first. But what up? Shout out to everybody. Jimmy, what's going on in this world of sports? I got some more stuff, but I'll get around the backside. What you got? Oh, yeah, I forgot you was on mute. You good now?
There you go. Yeah, those guys, it'll be hit and miss for those NBA players. Some guys, you know, as like a Damian Lillard, he's not the only one. Here's the other day I met with one of the tech guys. You know, I mean, everybody has a plug. So I met with my Mac plug, you know, my laptop plug, my iPad plug. He caters to the NBA, the pros. A lot of people know him. If you know him and you're in the loop, he's the guy that he goes, and whenever they come and play in town, different ones, he's going to hand deliver them at the Four Seasons, at the hotels. Well, and I met him yesterday, and he says he has been shipping out at least for the past 2 weeks, 8 devices per day, shipping them because he can't go to the bubble. He can't go. Them the other guys want him to come, so he's shipping the stuff so they can meet the guys and shipping it there. And my thing is, business is booming. That means those guys are getting loaded up, with and this, particular guys, with whatever you want on the laptop or the iPad or the whatever movie you want, whatever software you want, they load it up, send it to you in Payal, and you have. So those guys are preparing, to sit and just chill. Some guys can chill. Now, what's going to happen is the rooms that they have, the suites, some of the suites will have the connector. Some won't. And depending on what floor they're on. Well, the ones that has the connectors, that means now you're going to have your card games going on. Those guys ain't going to be able to just come out of there.
Not
from
these
what
first
I
2 days,
understand.
Jimmy. That's after these first 2 days.
Yeah.
They ain't playing no games with that. The first 2 days you have to be quarantined.
And the food that they're served is already pre-packed in the little plastic things, kind of like what you would get if you got one of those, what they call those little TV dinner type thing, but a magnified airport tray, but with covered up. So everything that they're getting, but Jimmy, it's 2 days.
Then I found out that was the press. That was, I think, check your device over there, Jimmy. Check see if your because I'm hearing some echo. But Jimmy, I think that was for you was getting that stuff. That's what they was giving the press. The players had halibut. The player I talked to had halibut and shrimp and all kinds of stuff. And he didn't take a picture of it, but I asked him, "Are y'all getting the same thing as the press?" He said, "Heck no." He said, "That's different. Wait till you start seeing the players' trades." That's all I'm saying.
Never do.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
So it's gonna. I mean, the thing is, this basketball is about to push forward.
Oh yeah.
And as basketball, NBA basketball, it is pushed forward. You realize the high schools, the schools, period. And this was news that dropped on day before yesterday morning, that the president. Now, the TEA and the high school, the teachers associations and unions alike, this is a new uprising that's going on, because he's saying you're going to go to school. And if you don't go to school, I'm going to cut your funding. Sports, one district, Adam, has already came out and said that if the sports is canceled, you follow me? If the sports is canceled, then their coaches would not get paid. You hear me?
I'm listening.
I mean, and I understand it, because that don't mean the coaches don't get paid. The verbiage, the clickbait on it is the stipend won't get paid. But those coaches, most of them are part of the union. So now you're going to have a union squabble with the school districts. Oh, this stuff it's about to get wacky.
And Jimmy,
and then there's other districts that's that's giving people the option on either you can go to school on some days, stay home. But if you opt to stay home and do virtual learning, you must wait until the end of the 6-week or 9-week, whatever the reporting period ends. You can't go flip-flopping and say, "Oh, I want my baby to stay home this week." You have to pick one or the other. I did not realize some districts in Houston the teachers will be reporting in 2 weeks. Let me get that again. In some school districts in Houston, the teachers have to report in 2 weeks. Guys, this stuff is going to trickle on over. Because now, then the other district saying, Alief ISD, guess what they did? That's near the district, the school where your son went, is it near Alief ISD, Adam? Mm-hmm. And they have proposed to eliminate all extracurricular activities unless they can be done virtually. Now, I don't know if it's going to go through. I don't know if it's going to vote. But teachers out there, you guys, let me, what's going on in your respective districts out there? And the thing is, knowing what's going on, if you're trying to do something about it, then contact your school board members, contact your school administration, contact those numbers are very public. Simply Google them. Talking about stuff is one thing, but acting upon a solution is another thing. Guess what? Your calls may be a little too late, but at least you can try to get them in. That's the thing about being proactive. And Kimberly say Katie.
Huh? What'd you say about
Kimberly say Katie going back. She says Katie ISD is going back. When is Katie scheduled to go back? Kim. But it's prepare. These next 2 weeks are going to be really, really intriguing.
You know what? I was thinking about it too. I'm trying to think of a word. It's so poetic that the same conference that started and shut down before the NBA shut down, before anybody shut down, the Ivy League shut down all fall activities. Think about this, y'all. It was the first. They did not have a conference tournament. You remember, Jimmy, we came on this show and you talking about, man, that ain't fair for them kids. Man, Ivy was the first to shut down. Now they the first to shut this thing down, man. It must be, and they gave a lot of reasons. A commissioner gave a lot of reasons that their faculty won't be able to travel and all that kind of stuff. They got a lot of new rules. But it's so unique that the Ivy League, the first team to stop before the NBA, before Adam Silver, because you know we talking about Adam Silver was the first pro team, but the Ivy League suspended their conference tournament a week before everybody else did, and that was so unique. But we're gonna take a break. We're gonna come back because we got a special guest coming on a little later on today, and we'll talk about that a little later. But this unique thing happened in the news last night with the what's the name, Deshaun Jackson and Steven Jackson, and got in a little hot water. But I want y'all to hear something. I wanted to share this with y'all. But Chop, we'll be back in a minute.
I've been getting hit up by everyone asking me about this Deshaun Jackson post. And I wanted to take some time before I responded because it's a complicated issue. And I wanted to be thoughtful. I wrote down some of my thinking. I've seen Deshaun play in his career, make outstanding football plays. We've communicated over social media. I've got nothing but respect for his game. I know he said some ugly things, but I do see an opportunity to have a conversation. I'm proud of my Jewish heritage. And for me, it's not just about religion. It's about community and culture as well. I'm unusual because I didn't identify as Jewish until later in my life. Whenever I encountered hatred, it never really felt like it was aimed at me. It was only after I was part of this community that I learned how destructive hate is. Anti-Semitism is one of the oldest forms of hatred. It's rooted in ignorance and fear. I remember experiencing a little bit of this hate in 2011 when I was called a kike on the football field. There's no room for anti-Semitism in this world. Even though we're talking about anti-Semitism, I don't want to distract from how important the Black Lives Matter movement is and how we need to stay behind it. I think the Black and Jewish communities have a lot of similarities. One unfortunate similarity is that they are both attacked by the ignorant and the hateful. It's really hard to see the challenges a community can face when you're not part of it. So what we need to do is we need to listen, we need to learn, we need to act. We need to have those uncomfortable conversations if we're going to have real change. So to that end, Deshaun, let's do a deal. How about we go to DC and I take you to the Holocaust Museum, and then you take me to the Museum of African American History and Culture. Afterwards, we grab some burgers and we have those uncomfortable conversations. This world needs a little more love, compassion, and empathy. Take care.
Welcome back to the Chop Shop, your midday sports happy hour, the best 120 minutes of your day. Right along. Shout out to everybody out there in the Boom Boom Room. That is, we're streaming live on Facebook and YouTube simultaneously. First, I want to take a moment to give a shout out to yesterday's guest and yesterday's show. That was a super duper job, and for as everybody, of course, and I'm still, the sincereness from Coach to come in on here and give a candid conversation and take all questions, stick his chest out there, hit the steps of his life behind him and in front of him. That was remarkable. And so and if you guys know somebody out there that's in the sporting industry, no matter pros or amateur, and that, their story can be heard the same way, just send us an email. chopshophtx@gmail.com. chopshophtx@gmail.com. That's our email address. That is. And also, what we got? You just showed the clip on with Edelman and Steven Jackson, and you guys see Steven Jackson has rolled back his comments and had to go and clarify them twice since putting his message out there. Twice. And the latest one, and Jack says, he mentioned and said, well, I could have changed my words. He said, there's nothing that said that I support any of that. There's nothing that I said that I hate anybody. And the thing is, let me tell you something, guys. Every time that a person has to come back and explain after making a statement of such, it means it does not pass the smell test. And also on yesterday, Shannon Sharp made a comment in defense, but not embracing the actual words, every word that Deshaun Jackson said, but he came out in defense of the scenario of whenever a black person mentions and says something that steps over that line or steps on the chalk, it's out of bounds. Yes, out of bounds. They would go and get a guy like Tony Dungy,
explain it away,
and clean it up. He's the cleanup man.
Yeah. And
you guys know, and it's kind of funny because in your subconscious, you kind of knew that you saw it. And it was almost like on First Take, back when Will Kane used to be on there.
Damn.
And he's been let go.
No,
he's going over to
Jimmy.
Fox.
No, he left.
Wait, I'm sorry, not let go. They gave him a bag and he's going to Fox on his own. Notice
what he did with the Fox political team, not Fox Sports.
Yeah.
He's gonna be a political analyst.
Yeah.
That's key.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And but once the politics over, he gonna go there, sliding back on in the slot on there. They're cross promoting that his audience in his sector from his fans and bring them over there.
Dude anyway. Yeah, you're right. He's a Fox dude anyway. Yeah.
What's a Fox dude?
A Fox Sports type. A Fox News type of dude. I've never let me tell you something.
Because if Fox Sports type dude, we talking about Shannon Sharp. So what's Shannon Sharp?
Fox News type of dude. Let me tell you something about Will Kane. That's one individual, and I promise you, the first time I saw him on TV, every time I see him now, I cut it off. I cut the TV off. Anytime he pop up on anything, I never want to hear nothing come out of his mouth. That's just me. He's counseled in my culture.
But in the part of speaking of
going back to Shannon,
person,
get back to Shannon and what he said.
And I mentioned Will Kane about ESPN. Every time it would be a race situation that would come up, of course they know Stephen A is going to speak his toll, but they would bring Will Kane on the show on that day to give the rebuttal from the other side of the fence. And he would be the guy they would use to come and and fan the flames and keep it. But certain people, but back to the Shannon Sharpe, he mentioned Tony Dungy is that guy in football. And you notice every time they'll call on Tony Dungy, and because he fits that pig fits the hole. So now Shannon Sharpe hasn't came back and apologized. He works for Fox.
Yeah, but Jimmy,
He works for Fox.
he did not agree. See, Jimmy, I mean, I'm gonna tell you the truth. I read part of it, and let me tell you something. I know in this society, you shouldn't use that. And I know some people are more militant and worry about that, but I respect. Let me tell you something. Just like I want people to respect me, I respect other people and what they're doing and their religions and their cultures. I respect their cultures, and and like I was thinking about Deshaun, and the reason, because Deshaun, Jimmy, what we found out, they was talking about what he printed. I mean, what he retweeted. He didn't write it. He just, he tweeted and retweeted what somebody else said, and it's had a connotation that the Nazi leader, I don't even want to call his name, the former Nazi leader, he wrote it. But now the historians say he never. I said Hitler never wrote that. So it's just like a lot of misinformation. But Shannon Sharpe says something key. What he said, what I liked is, he called Steven Jackson. Somebody sent me this information. He called Steven Jackson, Jim, and he said, Jack is good. He said, emotion is good. He said, but emotion has to be controlled. He said, you can double down on facts. As long as you repeat facts, you're right. But if you double down on emotion, you're wrong. You could have talked about Black Power, both of them, without ever mentioning Hitler. He said, you have a big voice, Jack. People are looking at you, everything you do now, and want to take shots at you because of the platform you built. And you're talking about something that Hitler never said. This Shannon Sharpe talking. Jimmy, then he said something key. And y'all walk me through, y'all listen to this. He said, hey, Jack, when you headed to the arena to play a basketball game, right? Would you ever stop off at the park before you go to the game and play one-on-one with the people in the park? He said, hell no. He said, guess what? You're headed to a bigger fight, son. And you're picking the fights along the way for what? You got a bigger fight. Now people are going to shoot, because everything I've heard since he said that, everybody come on talking about, well, now I got to wonder what his position is, the position he taking is that serious? See, that's the issue here. And he said, and guess what? Try to use these people as your allies, as we asked him. He said, and that's all. And I thought about it, Jimmy. And when I kept hearing the stuff last night on TV, first time everything people qualified it was, well, now I got to take another look at what he's doing with this situation. Now everything he do gonna be scrutinized. And Jack, you fighting a bigger fight, baby. You fighting John Jackson. That was his thing. You stay on focus. Don't let people get you off focus. That's what's wrong with us sometimes. We want to fight all of this. Hey, man, keep your eye, what they say, keep your eye on the prize. And Jack, please, you got a bigger calling, Doc. I never thought I would be seeing you in places that you in. I never thought that. I am so proud of you. So proud of you. Man, don't let them people dampen your message, because you got a powerful message and it's got to be heard. So I just wanted to shout out to Jack in case he get this. What else you got, Jim? Got 2 minutes left.
Yeah, I mean, it's that's those good words of wisdom. At the same time, the undercurrent is you think Steven Jackson, it's a reason that he's apologizing. That's
yeah. I mean, that ain't what I'm talking about right now. I'm talking
And
because the message, Jimmy, see, that's something else. I know what you're saying corporately, but the message is more important to me than even that. The message.
yeah, yeah. I mean, but that message don't come if he don't apologize. If he doesn't, in the efforts between his apologies, which he's issued another one since the conversation with Shannon Sharp. Basically, another apology and a clarification. A clarification came most recently. And so my thing is because one of the comparisons was the Riley Cooper situation. And that's a football player, lineman who got cut a couple of years ago.
Wide receiver, Jimmy. Wide receiver.
I'm sorry, wide receiver. That got cut a couple of years ago, and he made those. You know, he lashed out in the viral rant. You know, using the N word against somebody in the establishment, and he was basically slapped on the wrist and later given a pay raise, so to speak, by a new contract. Well, now the thing is, you go and you use that as your comparisons now. That still doesn't, and I understand that, but if you were keeping that candle lit to remind folk along the way, that's why I always say pay attention. Pay attention, because
Pay attention to what?
If you're paying attention to the sequence of things that happen along the way, and you're keeping and reminding everybody, reminding you, hey, you remember now, this guy said that, so just watch. So if somebody else on the other side say something, I want that same energy. I'm letting you know now. Oh, what are you talking about? No. I'm just letting you know. I'm just reminding you. Ain't nothing happening. Just reminding you. So now this happens now with Steven Jackson. The walls close in because it's going to mess with his money, because possibly. And as Jack say, he spoke with some of his Jewish friends. Well, those conversations now. This is opened up because, like Ellerman, you just mentioned the clip. Ellerman now has invited him to go to the Jewish Holocaust Museum, which I don't know how he's going to receive it, but if it's a sincere opportunity, then if I'm Jack, you take it, but then also invite Ellerman to the African American Museum, and y'all can do a home and home with this thing. And guess what? That really something really good for us Jacks and this persona, because what's going to be lost in this thing, Hatter, is the whole George Floyd fight.
We're not even talking about, on the news cycle last night, they didn't talk about George Floyd and social justice and police brutality, because they was talking about this mess. This the mess that I'm talking about, though. These guys, all I'm saying, Jimmy, these guys just got to watch what they say, right? Jack, let Deshaun Watson fight that fight right there. You stay focused on this one. You quit trying, don't multitask. Your purpose is big enough. You gonna have all you can handle very shortly. So that's the point I'm trying to make. We can't even, we're not even talking about it. The news not talking about it. They talking about, now guess what? It's poor me. Now we got to go back in here. No. We got to keep pushing forward, man. And we just got to watch. Just come on, man. Come on, man. Somebody check the microphone sometime. Somebody watch. Jimmy, my favorite word from a long time ago. Please proofread it or look at it again before you press send. I know we got grown folks. We try to tell the kids this, but as you see, these grown folks can't help but press send. They love to press send. I told you, it happened to me one time. Hey, everybody, just to show you that, hey, somebody said something ignorant. Jimmy, I got to type it in something, and I know who it was, the Holy Spirit. Some told me, Jimmy said, man, this not you. Don't do that stupid mess. And I caught myself, but everybody can't. This is a powerful tool. Steve Jobs hooked us up with, dog. It's a powerful tool. And it's so easy to get in fights, to get in situations, to talk crazy about it, and say this about somebody, and say they say as a little 4-year-old girl got 2 million followers because she's talking about fights on the playground. On the playground. This how crazy this thing has got. But we got to take a quick break, and we're gonna come back. Let me find a commercial for you. We're gonna come back. Yeah, I got something for you right here. Chop Shop. We'll be back in a minute.
Literary master James Baldwin wrote searingly brilliant, revelatory commentary about racial injustice in this country in a time of great social upheaval, civil unrest, and change. And here we are today. In his prolific writings, Baldwin brings attention to the truth that the system of oppression that is firmly in place in this country must be eradicated by its oppressors, but it must also be eradicated by the acknowledgement of its beneficiaries. It is only in taking this responsibility, it is only in every American rising to that challenging level of accountability that we will move forward to a truly inclusive society. In honor of the Black Lives Matter movement, and with the acknowledgement that this fight, it must continue. Here is a reading from an excerpt of Baldwin's collection of writings, The Cross of Redemption. It seems to me that the truth about us as individual men and women and as a nation has been and is being recorded, whether we wish to read it or not. A government and a nation are not synonymous. We can change the government, and we will.
It is obvious, or maybe it is not so obvious as it seems to be a controversial point. If you are intending to establish, to live in, to create a democracy, then you have a responsibility to all of your citizens.
One is attempting to save an entire country, and that means an entire civilization. And the price for that is high.
Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced.
One must be willing, indeed, one must be anxious to locate precisely that American morality of which we boast.
The terms of this revolution are precisely these, that we will learn to live together here, or all of us will abruptly stop living. We are the generation that must throw everything into the endeavor to remake America into what we want it to be. We've got to try.
Black Lives Matter. We love you.
Welcome back to the best 120 minutes of your day. The Chop Shop, the nation's #1 urban sports talk show, and also your midday sports happy hour. Yours truly, Robert Hatter, alongside Jim Hicks, coming to you live from Houston, Texas. And Jimmy, let me tell you, it's hot on the Facebook feed. It's hot. Boy, you put that James Baldwin. I wish I was a young man and read up on James Baldwin. I had to wait till I'm an old man to get up there. Heard about him, but I just nobody encouraged me to read about James Baldwin. First book I really read that touched me was the autobiography of Malcolm X. I read that book from cover to cover. I never forget that, Jimmy. It was a little paperback book, Jimmy, with nothing but words. And I read that book. That was one of the first books I enjoyed reading that I didn't have to, other than a school book. So, but great thing. But Jimmy, we were leaving. I don't know if we want to move on from there. I know we got a guest coming up. We got a segment. But where you want to go from here?
Yeah, we got University of Houston has announced they are making a budget slice in their athletics, and in the midst of doing so, this is going to be really intriguing. And one of the college coaches who was on here recently had alluded to a lot of the schedules are being revised. A lot of the contracts are being bought out or whatnot, or settled, because certain schools are only restricted, or schools are not being, bottom line, you're not being permitted to take plane trips for non-conference games. And in all sports, not every school, not every college, but there are colleges and they're restricting their programs to preferable geographic institutions during this pandemic. And because, which that means you're in more control of your movements. If you're going on that bus, on those charter buses that the schools have, then that means everybody is together. When you get off, you're going to shuffle into the hotel, which you're probably going to buy out now, and you're pretty much together as opposed to going through the airport, whereas everybody knows you only can do so much going through the airport. Because what if you have to use the restroom? I want to get me a sandwich at the deli, and you want to buy a new charger, you have to go to, so it's hard as hell to track it. So now the thing is with University of Houston, that means now more than ever, my point is, more than ever, HBCUs, if you ever want to play some of these schools and get some of that good bread. Now the bread ain't gonna be the same checks as it was.
Because people not gonna be in there.
That bread is gonna be there, and the opportunity, the lure will be there. Now the thing is, my thing is with the NCAA should find a way to not, they got the API, right? And the API, which measures your opponents and the success of it, they've adjusted it a little bit, tweaked it a little bit for this past year. They had tweaked it, but we never got to see it go into effect because NCAA never actually went through the selection process to pick the March Madness teams. But a lot of the schools, such as U of H, they used to play HBCUs because Alvin Brooks on the staff would make sure he would bless some of the HBCUs. Now they don't play TSU. They used to. That's too. U of H playing TSU is kind of like that sneaker-sponsored grassroots team, and everybody want them to play against the other non-sneaker sponsored team that's pretty doggone good. But for most cases, that sneaker team say, man, I'm not going to play them dudes. I'm not going to let them come up off of me. If they have nothing, if I play them and I lose, then they're going to be trying to come after my head, especially if I'm in my last, depending on how the comfortability is in the contract. That's the thing. And you don't get no reward on your API for beating them. Now, once again, like school like TSU, Prairie View, them ain't no good. Those are trap games. You wouldn't dare see U of H trying to schedule TSU or Prairie View right now. That ain't happening. That's not happening. Not by this staff. They're too smart. Like you just said a while ago, what Shannon Sharp told Deshaun Jackson. You got, in a nutshell, I'm paraphrasing, you got bigger fish to fry. In other words, U of H would I know, and I'm for it, and I'm not against it, but I understand the business right now. Mike, the success comes with a price. If you win too much, people will not want to play you. If you win too much, there's a young team right now around the area called Select One. Mm-hmm. Got a 7 foot 10th grader, a 6'11", 9th grader. I mean, pretty good. No sneaker teams. Before we shut down the GMI, said we're not playing them. None of the local ones. We're not going to play those guys.
But I don't see. Now we're getting conflicted, and I don't really want to go there yet because I want to talk about a school with $28 billion endowment. A 28. Let me hear my words now, because sometimes I'll invert words. $28 billion endowment. Stanford University. Stanford is cutting 11 varsity spots. I wanted to stay on what you were talking about. You're talking about U of H cut. Then we can get over there. But $28 billion endowment. Stanford. Tiger Woods School. Cut men's volleyball. Hold up. Men's and women fencing. Field hockey. Lightweight rowing. Men's rowing. Co-ed and women's sailing, squash, synchronized swimming, men's volleyball, and wrestling. Jimmy, if I was the men, I'll go call Title IX on them because they didn't cancel women's volleyball because they one of the top teams in the country. They didn't cancel women's volleyball, but they canceled men's volleyball. Ain't that a Title IX situation? But under Corona, so I'm just sitting here, and the reason I said this, we talking about U of H, and of course they're doing their cuts. Can y'all imagine what's going to happen around the country, y'all, to the HBCUs around the country that's already hemorrhaging money? Stanford, $28 billion endowment? Wow, unbelievable. But now, what I was trying to tell you about the summer basketball teams is, because I hear the summer guys come on here and they'll play around with it and tap dance around. Well, I play them, I play them. And then y'all tell me, I don't know because I'm not in those rooms. I am not grassroots expert on nothing. Notice I always result, whenever I have a grassroots topic, I talk to the people who know this stuff first. But the people who know this stuff first, they told me, man, you can't lose your deal by losing to nobody. If you can't lose your deal by losing to somebody, why don't you play them? It's somewhere. Y'all help me this. Ken Lutz, I know maybe you can, maybe you can help me with this. They come on this show and say that you can't lose your deal, okay? You can't lose your, what you call it, your sneaker deal, because by losing to somebody, or losing somebody.
Losing to a local team. No,
losing
you can't.
to a local team, okay. Losing to a local team, okay. You can't.
You won't.
So why don't they do it then?
Well, and I got the good supporting answer from the other side of the fence that explains why don't they do it. Some people, certain years, some people will. They do it. Certain years, some people won't. And it's like it's almost like if the grassroots program or team feels that they have an advantage or can win, then they ain't got no problem playing it. If that game is too hard, kind of like U of H playing against TSU. That's why I brought the analogy up. U of H is not going to schedule TSU because that's too hard of a game right now. TSU is too good. Prairie View is too good. The gap is shrunk between inside of there. So a lot of the grassroots programs, and guess what? I understand it, but my thing is for those that, let me go back to it. Some grassroots program are you attempt to suppress certain teams. If you can suppress them, then their star players will want to come and play with you. And you suppress them by not giving them, kind of like what was going on with the legacy in a lot of the school districts around the greater Houston that had made a declaration that they were not going to play against legacy, the School of Sports Sciences, because by playing them, that means you're empowering them. You're playing them. You're giving. If they beat you, they're gonna take your kids. They good anyway. But if they beat you, the floodgates could open up.
Jimmy, the more I learn about grassroots basketball, the more I learn about this high school basketball. Thank God, man, I don't have another son that had to go through this stuff. The more I'm learning, the more, because y'all got to understand, I am studying for people. Listen, I'm just telling y'all, everybody in grassroots basketball, I am a studier. I gather information. And I am gathering some information and hey, I might have another book. Y'all already know I'm writing another book. Y'all gonna give me another book because I got a ghostwriter that's bringing stuff out of me, and she gonna start bringing some of this out of me. Listen, y'all, man. It's freaking, the more I tell, the more, that's why I be so passionate about this stuff. Because the more I hear Trina Mouton, the more disappointed I am with all the lies and all the shit. I'll play him if I got a chance to beat him, I ain't gonna play him. Get your ass out the way. Let somebody else do it then. Get out the way. Some of y'all are in the way. And I'm telling y'all, some of y'all out here in this basketball community, all in the way. Get out the way. You know, they posted a video the other day of two kids in the gym going at it, right? One dude, I'm going back at you, right? And the reason people was talking about it because people don't even do that no more. Jimmy, I know you like to smack talk, but I'm talking about in the gym, guys they posted it because guys don't even do that no more. Everybody cool with each other. Man, we have, ladies and gentlemen, this basketball and this grassroots with all these lies and deceit out here, they have, it's like we done went in Neiman Marcus and somebody switched the price tags on what's valuable. People are valuing the things that's not valuable and discounting the things that are valuable. I'm watching this, y'all. This is a guy who studied this stuff. Had a son go through it. Had a summer team. It's getting worse. I thought it was going to get better. It's getting worse, Doug Jones. It's getting worse. And what I would say to the guys who know they wrong out there, man, just get out the way. If you don't say nothing to me or don't text me, then it's okay. It's all right. Just get out the way, man. That's all. That's all I got to say. Get your ass out the way. But because y'all in the way.
But you have to understand, this is not a Houston thing. This ain't
Jimmy,
get out
I
the way.
said grassroots basketball. I didn't say Houston.
But
I just know about the Houston guys.
But
you got to realize I'm world travel, Jimmy. I know what's going on in Memphis. I know what's going on in California. I know what's going on. I know what's going on in Florida. I know what's going on in New York. So I'm not talking about.
But grassroots basketball is under a rock. So you can travel the world abroad 3 times over, 30,000 times over, and not know what's under the rock that you're walking
Jimmy,
on top of.
Pull the rock back. I see the maggots, and I see the maggots when you put Jimmy. I didn't pull the rocks back. Listen to me. I have pulled the rocks back. I might not said nothing about it, but I didn't. You know how you go I'm glad you said it. You know how you pull up them rocks and then the maggots and the little bugs up under it. Hey, y'all, there's some bugs around this city. This city right here. Some bugs up under the rock. It's some bugs up under the rock.
It's bugs in every city.
Yeah, but I'm talking about this city. I pay taxes in this city.
It's bugs in every city, and that's the whole thing. But at the same time, the talent is going to be talent, and people are going to recruit wherever talent is.
I ain't saying nothing about
no matter what.
I ain't saying nothing about talent and recruiting. I'm talking about the dudes who in the business. I'm talking about the.
But still though, it's like that in a lot of sectors. You think this go check on, put your ear to the street on girls basketball. And
I got a question. I got a question. Just tell me if I said it wrong. Is girl basketball grassroots basketball? Is that considered grassroots?
Absolutely.
I said grassroots basketball. I didn't gender it. I didn't give it a gender.
Which girls basketball you have not spent the allotted time in the girls basketball events on the highest level and the grassroots level? You have not.
You'd be very surprised on what I know, sir. This thing right here, I got in my hand.
We're not talking about.
You don't have to be that. Just Jimmy. Hold up, excuse me, sir. Just like you didn't have to play basketball to report it, I don't have to be at the event to find out about it.
No, understanding. No, you're talking about the maggots under the rock. You're not going to get and see the maggots under the rock by watching a video.
What if I know one of the maggots that's under the rock?
one of the one
So all
of.
I need is one maggot.
I just stated to you that I said once again, if you think the boys basketball have maggots, then put your ear to the street or smell
I
over
just
on the
said
girls' side.
I said grassroots basketball.
And well, let's go baseball. You think grassroots basketball is bad? Select baseball. One of my teammates from college, he ran arguably the most powerful youth baseball program in the United States of America. If any of you guys know baseball out there in Houston, you know about the Banditos, by the De Leons. Once again, the Banditos, you can Google them. Google the Banditos. And so he run that. You thinking Ray De Leon, that was my teammate at Angelina. Played first base on the side of me. Ray De Leon, him and his brother operated the Banditos. You thinking, I'm talking about you think, and I know Ray De Leon. I know what goes on and how you're talking about maggots. It's all over, my point. That's all. It's not just a basketball thing. Basketball seemed to appear to take the heat.
I thought we were talking about basketball. That was our point of reference.
I see Ray. I see
guess
Becker
what?
McDonald.
In every industry, in my industry, it's some maggots. But we talking about grassroots basketball and stuff that I've uncovered over these, let me see, last 10, 15 years, the stuff I've uncovered, wow. It's going to be a good book. And Sadea, yes, I'm going to tell you who the maggots are. If you got my number, you hit me up. I'll tell you about some maggots around here. Yeah. So it's all good. It's all good. And all I'm telling the maggots, just get out the way, man. You know who you are. Just get out the way. So I'm good. I don't want to give them no more credit.
So back to the original thought, and that is playing a team that was a 16U team, and I see Clyde Jackson on there. Yes, Clyde has a 15U team with the Houston Hoops, according to their website. I just pulled up. They're the 15 and under Houston Hoops, and probably could beat this team. This arguably the Houston's best 16 and under team, or one of them without question, based on their recent performance. The Select One. Well, Select One did not want to play the Houston Hoops this past weekend, which I think, if they had known and they knew they agreed to play and decided not to play, then that ain't cool. But if they didn't know they were going to play them, and somebody just tried to piece it together on the day of, and they decided not to, and I ain't really mad at that. But my thing is, the Select One team, if a 16 and under team, right? Well, I'm sorry, they're a 16 and under team, but they want to play 17 and under teams. And if a 17 under team don't want to play you, now you're mad at the 17 under team. You thinking that all 17 should play you. But so the same thought, it's the exact parallel thought process. If you are, then that means you're a hypocrite, or you're presenting hypocritical behavior. If you are a 15U team and there's a hell of a 14U team that's maybe one of the best in the state, and you saying, "Oh man, we ain't playing them young dudes. Well, my dude, we ain't wasting our time with them." Well, hell, then the 16 on the team that you might want to play, you can't get mad if they say they don't want to play you. That's all I'm saying. It got to be kosher on both ends of it. Now, that's the ticket on that. Now, and guess what? Some teams are going to play, and I credit those, because there are a lot of coaches out there that don't care. Let's get it on. Let's get it on, because you know why? All of the kids are varsity basketball players. When they play the varsity games, there's no substituting out for 16U, 15U, 17U. You're a varsity player. So I think the solution to that, Hatter, is if we wiped away with the age divisions and just start calling everybody varsity, super varsity, hot, spicy, and mild, or whatever the hell.
Then what you gonna do about the little June bugs?
You could do what you want to do with them. You could do it accordingly, but it's not as prevalent down there with the younger.
So what age would you start? So everybody 15 and up, you would say playing
varsity,
big ball. Okay, 15 and up.
Call them super varsity. Make them feel better than varsity.
What you call them? Super varsity.
Super.
Okay. So and everybody 14 and under, they just play on the little Junebug circuit.
Middle school.
Like I said, hold up.
Super middle school. Everybody likes a word that play on their emotions. Don't call them super. Elite middle school. Elite varsity.
Guess what?
Whatever the hell.
That's why in this instance, I will result to you because I wouldn't have never thought. Because me, I guess I don't care. I just want to see some good basketball. I want to see if you got a bad dude, I got a bad dude, I got a good team. I'm going to play you. See, and maybe I was wrong because we didn't have nothing to lose, Jimmy. But we did have, yes, we did, because my pride. When franchise was playing. See, I don't remember Coach Henderson or Alan Branch ever said, hey, man. Now, we had one of the best players in the country that's a pro on that team. Ray Turner, a pro on that team. Jimmy, I just never remember. See, that's why I listen. That's why I'm taking notes. Because never one time did them guys say, man, I don't want to play them. But I know it's somebody here in this town. When we said we wanted to play against them, I hope y'all can't hear this guy cutting my cutting my yard around the corner. But Jimmy, we had the Houston Hoops, didn't want to play us.
When you about the franchise
All-Stars, the Houston Hoops, Marlon Lowe was coaching that team.
And
y'all text him.
And you know, no. Now I know the reason.
Oh, okay, so you know the reason.
I know a reason.
Oh, Jimmy, hold up. That go back to the bull crap that's in the industry.
I know a reason. And one of a reasons, but I can say they were consistent with that same, I mean about Edelman, I paid attention, and they remained consistent, meaning that Terrell Henderson from the franchise used to be he was previously the coach of and ran the Houston Hoops up under Hal Pastner. Right. So when Henderson left, it was ironically he fielded a pretty good non-sneaker sponsored team.
I got a question, Jimmy, because I didn't know. It was the year before. So Terrell was with them the year before he came with me?
Yes.
See, I didn't know that.
A summer or two before.
A summer or two, okay.
Yeah, it was here just, and so Hal Pastner is, and you guys know, you can imagine for those who even saw him and been around him, he's non-confrontational. And there are a lot of guys out there that's non-confrontational.
Okay.
So Hal, when Henderson left, Hal did not want to give him the time of day to play against him. That means you were validating them by letting them play your program.
That's the mess I'm talking about.
That goes into what I just mentioned a while ago. A lot of guys will try to suppress you. That means now your kids will want to go and, it's not like you beat them now. And what they messed up now, when Marlon Lowe left, they did not want to play Texas Pro. It's about the 17U.
Okay. So hold up. So it really wasn't Marlon's call. It was Hal's call. Well, I apologize to Marlon then. Because Marlon was speaking. I was speaking with Marlon, and Marlon said he couldn't do it. So I put it on Marlon. But now you done took it above Marlon. So Marlon, you off the hook, baby. So y'all can text him and tell him he off the hook. Because I didn't know the underbelly. Yes.
Because that came straight from the horse's mouth to me because I'm putting the schedule together. And so a lot of those coaches would tell me often, hey, we're not playing this team. We're not playing this team. We don't want to play this team.
Right.
And just like right now, the Houston Defenders were scheduled to play the select one team. Said Aaron Harris say, I'm not playing them. Aaron Harrison, I'm not playing that.
Okay.
I'm not gonna tell them to go come up. They want to come up, go come up on somebody else's dime. They're gonna come up on off of the defenders.
Okay. That's the y'all. Now you keep talking, Jimmy. Keep talking, because I got all this in my notes. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about in this industry. Y'all, we got to play. Whether they come up with, beat the hell out of them. Listen to me, man. Y'all got to realize, carry home. I guess we didn't. Yes, I think we did have something to lose, Jimmy. Jimmy, we had one of the top players in the country. I never wanted him to lose. If John lost, I thought it was terrible.
But you're right. You didn't have nothing to lose as far as the same magnitude. If you lose to the Houston Hoops, know what that means? The sneaker program is supposed to beat the non-sneaker program in their area. Of the same
but we
age.
didn't have no regular non-sneaker program. We had just as many. We had more dudes than they had.
Well, that's like Coos Elite. Coos Elite just had 7 Division I players this year. But did
they have 2 pros on their team? Hold on. Whoa. Did they have 2 pros on their team?
I mean, who knows? It's yet to be seen.
Okay. Did they have a player, a McDonald All-American on their team?
Absolutely not.
John Henson was a McDonald All-American. So it's 2 different things, Jimmy. It's 2 different things. I got a McDonald All-American on my team.
Helen, at that time, he wasn't a McDonald's All-American. At the time, he was going upward on the charts.
He was 18th.
And then he went, and later on that summer, that was the beginning. That was a spring.
He was 18th in that summer. 18th. You the 18th.
In the spring, he went after that. That was in March. He went in April and ran against a couple of guys and kicked their ass. He wasn't there then.
That took him from 18 up into the top 10, Jimmy. Jimmy, I remember it vividly. That took him from 18 up into, and let me tell you, people who ain't never heard it. What his name? Derek Favors, DeMarcus Cousins, Ronaldo Sidney. Those were the top big men. So guess what I did? Kendrick, Andre Branch, Sadea Williams, Kendrick Lewis, Dr. Newsom. Coach Henderson said, Robert, this where these guys gonna be. We need to go play against each one of those guys. What if they never let John play against them, Jimmy? We wasn't a sneaker team. What if the people never let John play? John went and told Derek Favors a new behind hole, Ronaldo Sidney a new one, DeMarcus Cousins. He dogged DeMarcus Cousins out so bad. DeMarcus Cousins cuss Coach Henderson out, cuss the coach out. And what's the other ones? One more. Favors. It was 3. So we got a chance to play those top guys. That moved him up to 18 from 18 safely all the way into the McDonald All-American game. And listen to me, that was not my doing. Hear me, because sometimes y'all do not hear the hell I say. Y'all got selective listening. That was the crafty engineering of Alan Branch and Terrell Henderson. Those guys engineered that. All they did is tell me, get what they told me. Man, we need to go here. We need to go here. We need to go here. And guess what I told them, Sonya? Had the kids at the airport. I got them. Y'all don't have to bring nothing. I got them. That's what happened. I never forget. My favorite, Rick Nelson on the air. I'll never forget this, man. I love Rick Nelson to this day for this. Rick Nelson, I called him and said, Rick, because they put me up to call Rick. See, Jimmy, I didn't know. Hold up, Jimmy, we should have been on a break. But Jimmy, I did not know that Rick, they put me up to talk. Usually Alan and Coach talk. So I called Rick. I said, what's up, big fella? I said, hey, man, what would it take? I need to get my team on the Sunday. I said, Rick, I need to get my team on the main floor. Rick said, man, you ain't got nobody. I said, what you mean? He said, man, you ain't got but John Henson. You can throw the rest of them Negroes in the ocean. I said, wow, Rick. And guess what? But guess what? That's just the way he felt. But what if Ronaldo Sidney and Derek Favors, DeMarcus Cousins, what if those guys didn't give John the chance to play against them, Andre Branch? What if they didn't give him the chance? They could have said, no, man, I ain't playing them. I got too much to lose.
You mean their coach? You mean their coaches?
Yeah, the coaches, whoever. Jimmy, whoever make those decisions. All I'm saying was, I just wasn't built like that. I'm glad the guys around me, we would play anybody. Guess what? I'm gonna show you something. I'm gonna show you how we'll. Let me tell you, Port Arthur Memorial had Doug, Port Arthur, the team, the Port Arthur Heat, had Doug's favorite player in the world on it, Jacobin Brown. Okay? Check this out. That kid used to play on Coach Henderson's high school team. They had a big breakup. Do you know Coach Henderson invited them to our tournament and played against that same team? That the player that he didn't. Jacobin Brown is a stone killer. But we didn't run from him. We didn't run from him.
Adam, let me tell you something. There's so many guys.
Ken Lutz, that was in state. Port Arthur, the Port Arthur Heat was in state. I know you was gonna have something to say, but that was in state.
There are a lot of guys that have attained, well, not a whole lot. There are a few that before. Let's take Houston Hoop Stars, Keith White. That was a time 15 years ago. Keith White didn't have a sneaker deal before Cameron Ridley got to the 10th grade. Houston Hoop Stars would play anybody, kick butt. Now at the same time, I'm gonna tell you what was different back then. What was different back then is that when you had the 17 and unders, you did not see showcase games. You had super pools, but not showcase games. The showcase games, when they have become prevalent, especially in this entire region, a lot of teams say, man, we only gonna play on Saturday and Sunday. We only gonna play one game. We play two games. Back then they played a tournament. That meant that if you win and you won enough, you have a chance, the opportunity to go and get your crack against the sneaker teams or whatnot that played in it. And that was a difference because the opportunity, and this is so what goes and pisses a lot of the guys. You got haves and you got have-nots in far as sneaker product and sponsorships. The have-nots get pissed off because a lot of times the same sneaker guys, the only way that you get a chance, the opportunity to play against them is if you go and pay money and play in their event. So they want you, they'll call you up, man, buddy, how many teams you got? 5 teams? Okay, man, then give me that check, and then we'll put you in that. That's that possibly only chance you get. Back before, 15 years ago, everybody pretty much had an opportunity to get a crack. And guess what?
Jim, I just saw a good comment, Jim. Jermaine Johnson said, "Are the showcase team paying the same as the tournament as the other team? Usually the showcase team, some of them showcase teams don't pay."
In the GMI they were. In the GMI, the showcase team was paying the same amount because what and when we go, you said we got a break. We ran right through the stop sign.
Yeah, but you gonna go? Yeah, we can go take a quick break right now.
We go to the break and we come back. I'll share with you guys the difference between understanding showcase divisions versus the tournament division and the pros and cons when we come back on the Chop Shop.
Because all I know that works in the world is a relationship.
Yes, all right.
Okay, that's all that's going to work. It takes two people to have a relationship.
Yeah, but the relationship.
If you don't have a dream, fake it.
But the relationship, you can't fake a dream.
You got to fake it, because we don't have dreams these days. How the hell can you have a dream? For what?
Well, it isn't.
So everybody's jiving, but let's jive on that level.
If I love you, I can't lie to you.
Of course you can lie to me, and you will. If you love me and you're going off with Maddie someplace, you're lying to me. Because what the hell do I care about the truth? I care if you're there. What Billie Holiday say, hush now, don't explain.
All right, I accept that.
Of course you'll lie to me, because I don't even want to care. What does the truth matter? And why are you going to be truthful with me when you lie to everybody else? You lied when you smiled at that cracker down the job, right? Lie to me, smile. Treat me the same way you would treat him.
I can't treat you the way I treat him.
You must. Because I've caught the frowns and the anger. He's happy with you. Of course he doesn't know you're unhappy. You grin at him all day long. You come home and I catch hell because I love you. I get least of you. I get the very minimum. And I'm saying, fake it with me. Is that too much of the black woman to ask of the black man? For 10 years, so that we can get a child on his feet that says, yeah, father smiled at mother. He talked to me about school today. Who cares that you can read or can't read? Most Americans can't read. Most people can't read. They look at the pictures.
I got to ask you, Andy Reid has been your guy for a long time. You know he's been in search of this ring. What does him winning this championship mean to you and everybody who helped him along for this ride?
He would never say this, but I know it means a lot to him. This is something that we all pursue. This is our dream of winning this. He's been in this business for a very long time. He's had opportunities, but never really finished the goal. This was special. This was a great moment in history and time for us, but also a very special moment in time for him. Donovan came back and talked about how important Coach Reid was to him. Brett Favre, the same thing. So when you got all these people that have been around him and know how special of a man that he is, you always want to make sure that you can accomplish a goal for him when it's all said and done with.
Eric, we got to go to the second half. Third quarter comes around, Pat Mahomes.
Welcome back to the best 120 minutes of your day. The Chop Shop, the nation's #1 urban sports talk show, and also your midday sports happy hour. Yours truly, Robert Hatter, alongside Jim Hicks. And I just love this show because we got people who just start watching this show that are going to try to tell you how your story goes. And I just don't understand it, but it's funny. It's hilarious to me. The Boom Boom Room is the only place in the world that this can happen. That somebody will come on this feed and tell you how your story went. I love it. I love it. Only in America can this happen. But Jimmy, we got a guest, man, that he was in the dressing room, Jimmy, but he locked his dressing room. We didn't know he was in there. You feel me? We didn't know he was in there. So introduce our guest, man. I know we got something else to talk about, but
absolutely.
But introduce our guest.
And of course, we got a guest, young man that I've been knowing since his high school days. Been knowing him for 2 decades now. He was about in the 10th grade back in 2000. Graduated in 2002 for North Shore High School on a team that probably could have made it to state.
Jimmy, I don't want to hear about no problems.
No, he got injured in the playoffs.
They
made it to the regional tournament. Hightower went to state that year with Greg Wise, back with Lanny Smith and Michael Ume and those guys went to. That was their back-to-back of 2002 and 2003. Hightower went. But North Shore was one of the favorites going in that season. Their leader went down, Marcus Ebo, and he's our guest today. And now he's done a lot. He's came full circle after finishing college, getting his degree, starting a family, and has been a head coach recently at Goose Creek Memorial High School, which is in the Baytown area. And before then, he has experience, on the high scholastic and non-scholastic sector. As now he's a volunteer coach with the John Lucas Enterprises as well for the past couple of years, and also before then with the Houston Hoops program as a volunteer assistant or some grassroots coach. So now we definitely got a lot to cover with Ebo, and he has some things to share with you guys. It might put a lot of things in perspective and make you understand a lot of, because once again on the Chop Shop, you're going to get a lot of sports. We're going to talk some grassroots, and we're going to continue this conversation in just a second from last segment about the showcase stuff and tournament division. But first, we want to bring in Marcus Ebo and welcome a much healthier Marcus Ebo than the last time I spoke with him. And what's going on? And tell us why you're looking a lot healthier right now than you was a week or two before.
Hey, thank God I can actually breathe now. You know, I can breathe on my own. I recently went through a bout with COVID-19. It started Father's Day weekend, you know, that Friday night. And the symptoms I had, you know, it was basically just like a fever, upset stomach. But on Sunday, it didn't get any better, right? So my wife and I decided to go get checked, and it came back positive. And so I went back home, and I was like, I'm just going to try to fight this from home. You know, I didn't want to go to the hospital. And, you know, it got to a point to where that next week on Friday, you know, my wife told me, she was like, you need to go to the hospital. And, you know, seeing her face and hearing her tell me that was like the beginning of the worst. And so I would spend the next 7 days in the hospital. And, you know, first 2 or 3 days, there was no progress. You know, and so you sit in this hospital bed by yourself. And, you know, I couldn't call her and tell her what I was feeling because, you know, you're in a hospital, you're not getting better, you can't breathe on your own, you can't eat, you can't move. And you start thinking, you know, I was just thinking like I gotta fight, I gotta hope, I gotta pray. But I had to see my kids and my wife again. I had to see my family again. And it's you're in the hospital and nothing is happening, for nothing is getting better. And on top of that, they moved me to a room with the roommate. And for the first day or so, this guy next to me, and we only separated by a curtain. And he's coughing, vomiting, begging, pleading for his life. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, I can't let this man die next to me. Because, you know, I started thinking about all the images of, you know, on TV, you seeing bodies on bodies, people dying. And it was tough, you know, and not to be able to, you know, I'm in there by myself. And so, thank God, the doctor finally, since I wasn't getting better, the doctor offered me to take the experimental drug. I guess it's not fully clear by FDA right now, remdesivir. And she asked me, she was like, do you want to take it? I'm like, well, I don't know, because I don't know what the side effects or, you know, this and that. But then finally I was like, man, I got to take it because this ain't, you know, I'm not going anywhere. And even taking that medicine was a scary experience because they put it in your IV, and as soon as it goes to your IV, it goes to your body. And what was crazy was like once it went through my body, I could almost feel like my body coming up off that bed. And that's when I didn't know if I was, you know, transitioning. I didn't know what. And so being in that room and having someone next to you, you know, because as he got like a little bit better, I would try to like coach him. I would just like, hey, you know, it's going to be okay. You got to keep fighting, because I'm talking about this guy was like begging for his life. And here I am, you know, fighting for my life. And so the thing that got to me was like, if I get out of here, when I get out of here, I got to help. I got to let people know that this thing is real. This isn't some type of number manipulation, some government ploy. This isn't some conspiracy theory. When you get it and you got it, there's nothing taken back from that. You can't go back from that. You know, and I had pneumonia, so that's what really made it hard for me. But the thing was, and what I'm trying to build on is that You know, with my roommate, when he had complications and he had to go into surgery, and he was like, Marcus, can you pray for me? And here I am. I could barely say my name and date of birth when the nurses would come and check my vitals. Like, it was like I couldn't talk. I was on an oxygen tank for 7 days, you know. And so I was able to say a quick prayer for him. And when he came back in, he was still on anesthesia. But just to see the joy in his voice, you know, that's what is motivating me to get this word out to people, because this isn't a game. This is nothing to play. I'm a regular guy. I wasn't out being reckless, you know, being around a bunch of people, nothing like that. But I got it somehow. And I see people out here like going to parties and posting, you know, fake, you know, little, you know, things on social media, making jokes about it. This is no joke. And I'm only 36 years old. And the guy next to me, for that day when I couldn't talk to him, when he was coughing and you know, and begging for his life, I thought he was 50 to 60 years old. And it turns out that guy was younger than me. And he just got released from the hospital. I've been checking on him. He just got released from the hospital. And he's going to have to be on an IV for the, you know, near future. He can't eat. And he's probably 33, 34 years old. And a couple of points that I want to just express too is that when I came home, I'm a pretty private, low-key person, but I put on Facebook, you know, what I went through. But after I did that, there was so many people that reached out to me and said, you know, I had it, but I didn't want to tell anybody, or I didn't know what to do. And it's kind of like you're being in the closet about having COVID, and that's the worst thing you can do, you know. And then another point too is I know people want to get in the gym. I was in the gym, you know, I love the gym, but I was made aware that, you know, high schools have started back up. Well, they had to pause, but they were starting back up with strength and conditioning camp, right? So I was made aware that there was one kid who had been going to strength and conditioning camp because they're screened every day. He was experiencing 7 out of 8 symptoms, but was still going to the camp. It was basically lying and saying he was good. So you just think about how many people are exposed to that. You think about going back to school. Like, I don't want to be around people. Like, you can show me somebody with 100 negative tests, I still don't trust it, because I'll be damned if I got to go through this again. And I have a 13-year-old son who has asthma. And I've got, that won't happen. I promise you. I'm going to do everything I can, because I don't want my worst enemy, I don't want them going through what I had to go through. It's nothing like being in the bed and wondering if you're going to make it out. So I just want everybody just to, you know, I want to share my story. I want everybody to understand that you need to wear a mask, you need to social distance, and you need to stay home if you can, because this is real. And that's just really what I want to share.
Man, I mean, we definitely, this is Marcus Ebo, guys. He's in Houston. He was released from the hospital this past weekend after his stay, and as it has shared his experience with you guys. And on the Chop Shop, I have a couple of questions to ask for you, Marcus, and I want to toss to you a lot of the viewers, and want to commend you for having the courage to come and share, because a lot of people are thinking as though it's an embarrassment to have a positive test. It's an embarrassment to have been treated for COVID-19 symptoms. And so one of the questions was, somebody asked, when you mentioned your neighbor in the hospital went and had surgery, twofold. What type of surgery did he get to go and endure? And did he not agree to take the same medicine that you agreed to take and sign for that was not approved by the FDA? The same.
Well, his the first part of his surgery, he had something wrong with his leg, and so when they scoped it out, they found bacteria. So that's what caused him to have to go in and do the surgery to remove the bacteria. And he had other underlying issues. I think he had diabetes, and he had something wrong with his stomach in general, like acid reflux. And so his issues were that he couldn't eat. He couldn't hold anything down, you know. And so I think as far as me, like my main concern was my breathing. Like he could breathe. It was just that he couldn't eat. If that makes sense.
So your symptoms, describe some of the symptoms. But you know, a lot of times we hear them and we've read them in the papers, and you can't smell. Some people can't smell. Some people can't taste. You take us through your symptoms and what order did they appear in during your experience?
So initially, it was really like I said, that Friday night of Father's Day weekend. That night, I just had a real high fever. I had a real high fever, and my stomach was upset. And so those were the main two. And then it was almost like when I got tested, I got worse. Because after I got tested, the doctor told me too that I had pneumonia. And so that week with the pneumonia, like my breathing, it just gradually got worse and worse and worse to where, I couldn't even walk to the bathroom without, falling down coughing. So, and then when I got to the hospital, it got even worse. They hooked me up to the oxygen tank, thank God. And that's what kind of helped me to kind of stabilize, because I was probably, had my oxygen levels dropped just a couple of more levels, they told me I probably would have had to go on a respirator. And, that was, it's really just the mental stress that it was just a lot. It was, like I said, I hope and pray nobody has to go through this.
Wow, man. It was tough. And you mentioned your son and your family, and take us through, like, they're not able to see you, right? They're in the hospital. You're in the hospital. You can't have guests or visitors in that situation. So did you have your telephone there? How often did you talk with your family while you're during your stay?
And that was having to tell my sons, because this whole time I've been educating my kids about it, with the social injustice, with the pandemic, and the look. I can't remember if it was a text message or if I was on the phone or FaceTime. When I had to tell my kids I was going to the hospital, and the look on their face, it was something, And when my wife dropped me off, I know she told me, she was like, she just sat in a parking lot because they wouldn't let her in. And in that stage where I thought I wasn't gonna make it, I couldn't tell my wife that. I couldn't text her. I wasn't about to call her and text her and tell her that. So I'm in there alone, and I'm hooked up to an IV one hand. I got this other stuff on my other arm, and it's just you just in there by yourself. And thankfully, my wife, she would check in with the nurses and the doctors. For me, I just couldn't tell. Like, I was feeling. I was out of there. I couldn't tell her that. I couldn't. And she's home by herself because she's having a quarantine. But thank God she got tested this weekend. She's negative. Thank God for that. But
Jesus, thank you, Lord.
What she's had to go through.
No.
It's
no.
Like I said, I just want people to understand that this is real, and not to be out here playing games with it. So.
Thank you so much, Mark. Thank you so much, man. I have empathy for you. I'm feeling every word that's coming out of your mouth. I'm getting chills right now. What I was doing, Marcus, I was going back through my phone. Okay, and I was looking at the dates. Went back to March. When they start talking about it, and when I start taking notes every day about the COVID-19 and how I tried to put people I tried to put people in.
We can't hear you.
Can't hear me? Okay.
Now we can't.
Okay. I tried to put people. I tried on these airwaves and everywhere I get. I have people mad at me. Not necessarily mad at me. My sister did not understand why I wouldn't come visit her. You know, and that's my favorite sister in the world. All of my favorites, but this one, and I would never go visit her. And I had friends telling me, "Man, you got to go see your sister. You got to see." No, I didn't, Marcus. I couldn't. I just couldn't. You know, Marcus. Then I had a situation where my son's auntie died. One of his great aunts died. It was like her. Like she's one of his mothers. And he called me and said, "Dad, should I come home to the funeral?" And cause some people wanted him to come. And I said, "Let me tell you something. You put this one on me." I said, "I don't know what you live in New York. I don't know what you have. I don't want you bringing that death if you got it down here to these old people, because everybody in that funeral was old. And everybody he was going to be over is over 65 or 60, all of them older people." And I just told him, I said, "Whatever, you just put it on me. I'll take the hit." I said, "Sometimes, let me tell you something." And he heard me. I said, "Sometimes you got to be the smartest person in the room. You can't let people you can't come down here on emotion." I felt bad about it. But I took this thing serious from the beginning. Am I perfect? No, I ain't perfect. One time I almost went to the service station and almost put my card in there without my gloves on, without gloves on. So you know this, we're not used to this. This don't happen but every 70 or 80 years. It's something we never practiced. So it's just that and all I did, and all I was thinking about, Marcus, the whole time was, Robert, pretend that you have it. Think that you have it, and you don't want to give it to nobody else. So I ain't been over nobody else. Man, there's some people that I used to go over their house all the time, every day. My barbecue cookout, I cooked all that food. No guest. See, you're 36 years old. Man, I thank you, man. You just don't know how much that I thank you, because I know I had a friend, Marcus. I came on here and told a story, Marcus. I had a friend in Italy where it broke out. It was one of the big, yes. Yeah, my girl had just got back in March, the 11th, the day after the shutdown. I was supposed to go to France with them, and I didn't go. She got back the last day before the United States. So this stuff is so serious, man. And Miguel in Italy, guess what he told me? He said, "Man, tell your people, Robert." He said, "Robert, we were just so lackadaisical about it when the government told us about it." He said, "Over here in Italy, we're hugging and kissing people. We hug and kiss all the time. So it's easy for us to spread this thing." That's why Italy had the first but guess what, Marcus? Italy is back functioning because the people paid attention. We over here, our leadership, we got divided leadership over here. They'll open up stuff and close stuff and open stuff up and open up. Tell them, I got some Clorox, take some Clorox. Come on, man. But Italy, they're almost back to normal. And they were worse than us, Marcus. But can't nobody tell us nothing. Jimmy said it. Ain't nobody telling me, can't nobody tell us nothing over here. Can't tell me. I talked to one of the guys that's in the bubble. And he was telling me, "Man, I'm not coming out of this room for 2 days." Guess what Jimmy said? "Well, man, somebody gonna have adjoining rooms and try." If he took his ass way down there to Orlando to go in a adjoining room to play some cards with another guy that might have, then it's hopeless. It's hopeless. It's hopeless that people even think like that. So, man, I just thank you, a young man. And the guy next to you, you thought he was an old guy because you had your curtains by, you didn't know. And you find out he's younger than you. Man, God bless you. God bless your wife. I saw her assisting you this morning when we were sound checking. That's why your sound looks so good today. Thank her for the sound. Because you wasn't looking this good at first. But she hooked it up. So tell her thank you so much, man. But that's all. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. And now we have another couple other questions for Marcus Ebo, and you guys are there's. If you after the show, you guys can also go back and watch what you've missed from today on either YouTube or Facebook. We're streaming live. If you would be so kind, can you share the show right now?
Oh, yeah.
So that a lot of your viewers and followers can receive some of this conversation, this message, somewhat of a testimony from Ebo about his chilling experience of being hospitalized, unable to see his family in person as he fought his way back to normality after testing positive for COVID-19, the coronavirus 2019. Marcus, I want to ask you, I think somebody asked, I was looking in today's paper, and it has a story, of course, our guy Adam Coleman, who covers the high school sports, has an article about the UIL. That's the governing body of the high school athletics. Well, they have set dates for the teams to return to their workouts, so to speak. Football will be August the 3rd. Volleyball, August the 10th. They're going to start loosening the restrictions. Now, they've already, I think, are back in action. You mentioned a while ago about a young man who had 7 of the 8 known common symptoms of COVID, yet he still felt compelled to go and participate. And this is the part I've been stressing on the Chop Shop since Monday, is the people who know that you may have it. Well, have it meaning have contracted or been infected, and you're still proceeding to go out and not inform the next guy or the next guy. Could you share your thoughts on that, plus your thoughts on whether or not on your plans to send your kids back to school when the school terms resume, or will you guys be opting for the virtual learning?
First and foremost, we already submitted them to go to school online. That wasn't even a question. They not stepping foot in no school until it might be 2022 for my kids go to a school, and that's just based on what I've been through. But I, as a school teacher, I don't feel comfortable being around people in a school, because what you got to realize is that all it's going to take is one person. One person can affect that whole school. It could be the bus driver, the cafeteria worker, a janitor, a teacher, a principal. One person. And from the research that I've been gathering is that children are kind of like the host of this thing. Like sometimes they don't show the symptoms, but they have it. And that's the scary part too, is when somebody's asymptomatic, but they're around people, they can still spread it. So you don't know, and I don't think like the tracing policy is there. And also too, I'm reading about how a lot of it can be, transmitted through, air conditioning, the air conditioning vents. So, it's just, I think one test is too many. One positive test is too many. And for schools to open up, I understand it's like a money thing, with the funding, but you're sending all these kids back to school, and in Houston in particular, the numbers are rising. It's not going down. And, it's very scary to me, You know, being around people that you don't know what they have, and they bring it to somebody else. Just think, one kid can expose thousands of people.
Yes.
Indirectly.
Yes.
So, you know, I think everybody really just needs to kind of slow down.
Okay.
You know, slow this thing down. You know, basketball will be there, sports will be there, but you lose your life, that's it.
Wow.
And another question that somebody have for you, Marcus, is are you experiencing any residual effects since you've arrived back home?
Oh, definitely. Like this is probably my first day actually talking this much. But the pneumonia, they told me it's going to be weeks to months. Like I still experience like gasp or short air. I can't even yawn, you know, and from the oxygen tank, my whole nose and sinus, like it's all fuzzy. Cause you know, you're on the oxygen tank for 7 days. All of this is kind of still blurry to me. And I just got my taste back, you know, a few days ago. Thank God, because I love to eat, but you know, that was something serious too, is just not being able to eat.
How much weight you lose? Wow.
I lost about 10 to 15.
Serious?
10 to 15 pounds. Yeah. I mean, I needed to lose weight, but I ain't going to do it that way. So, you know, I'm going to try to fight back healthy, but I can't go up my flight of stairs more than twice without losing my breath. So it's going to be a long process to get back to 100%, but I still have trouble breathing sometimes.
Now, when you took your first test, was the first one positive, or did you have a negative, then go back and get a positive?
No, the only one I took was positive.
But at that time, you figured you experienced enough symptoms, or you had no symptoms?
And that was the thing. Like I said, my very first symptoms were fever and, you know, upset stomach. And so I honestly thought I had food poisoning. So I was like, I don't really feel like I got corona. I thought I had food poisoning.
Okay.
No. And then, like I said, once they told me I had a positive test, and then they ran like different, you know, they did like a CAT scan, and that's when they found the pneumonia. And then after that, it just, like I said, it just went downhill after that.
Marcus, like I said, I talked to someone in the bubble, and it's so unique that you're saying that these guys in the bubble, he said they gonna have to get tested every day. The players in the NBA bubble, they are being tested every single day. Every single day. They are not, I mean, and they, you know, they're able to do it, but this how serious, you just said anybody can carry. A young guy, think about it. Let's say you got a popular young guy. Let's say we got a popular young basketball player who want to shake and dap everybody's hand. That's the key thing that I said that Dr. Graham Mentley said. He said, man, pretend that you have it. You remember you said, but the young guys, they got to pretend that they have it and they don't want to give it to nobody else. But you saying people know they have it and know they're going around, and that's foul. And that's where I mean, I don't want to think that bad about nobody, because I don't know nobody who have told me that, you know, but these guys I don't know what's happening in the TBT. They said they had 5 tests already, but in the NBA,
it was 5 different teams.
She said this TBT league had 5 tests. That's what she said.
No, I'm just saying, I'm clarifying. I'm saying it was 5 different teams in the TBT that has positives from within 5 different teams. Yes, 5 different teams have pulled out of the TBT.
Oh yeah.
So it's 5 different teams.
Okay.
Now some of those teams have multiple players, more than one player.
Yeah.
You know, remember our guy John Smith, who was the coach at San Antonio Wagner, the assistant coach. Little John, you've met him a couple of times. We had him on the Chop Shop before. Yeah. And he's coaching one of the teams in the TBT.
Which team he coaching?
Oh man, I have to check and go through my phone. But he's coaching one of the teams.
Jared
he's coaching one of the teams.
Got beat last night. I can't wait
to see. They were the champs, huh?
Yeah, they got beat. Guess what? Aaron Kraft is off to You remember Aaron Kraft? He's off
Yeah,
the med
yeah.
school. He's off the med school now. He says his last game he's gonna play professionally like that. He's off the med school. They were talking about it on the show last night. Yeah.
And what if you guys just tune in, we have Marcus Ebo right here, and he's gave a powerful rehashment
No, she said they had
of
5
his.
tests. Jimmy, I'm sorry. She said they had 5 tested clear in order to play. That's what
Oh,
she was
okay,
talking about.
okay. Yeah. I know they had 5
Yeah.
teams that already been pulled
Okay.
out. That's what. Okay, there you go. Thanks, Trina.
Thank you,
And but Marcus Ebo, I mean, great. I'm gonna say a great story because it's a great truth, you know, and about what he endured. And so now you guys have questions for Ebo on this Baby Friday, the perfect conversation. And Ebo, Marcus, you coach grassroots basketball as a volunteer. So with your team, you guys had the week before you tested positive. Did you guys have practices and workouts with the team? How did that transition? Did those guys have to go get tested, you know, and whatnot?
No, I hadn't been in the gym with our team in probably 2 weeks, so the time frame didn't match up. I hadn't seen any of those kids like before I had symptoms.
Okay. And of course, out of the thanks to Big Doug Jones and Anthony Favre provided the Wounded Warriors is the name.
Did they pull out?
They pull out for a positive.
Oh, they was one of the okay.
You know, one of the teams. And I was trying to keep my eye on Isaiah Austin because that's who I was rooting for.
Didn't they get beat?
Among his team.
They got beat.
I don't know. I'm just saying I was rooting. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't watched a single game of.
Yeah, I got them on tape, so I'll go pick. I just want to go watch. I want to go back and watch Marcus King play. Because they've been talking about the little guard from San Antonio, Warren, that went up, that was the leading scorer in the nation, and he went to a couple of colleges. I can't wait. Little 5'9" dude killing everybody.
Hey, I played in that TBT when it first came out. Yeah.
What team did you play with?
It was called the Talladega Nights. It was.
Remember them?
You ain't from Alabama? You ain't from Alabama?
No, the guy that was the general manager, he owned like a car fleet, and he was big into cars, so he named the team Talladega Nights. But yeah, it was a great experience.
I got one for you. Trina just gave you one. I'm trying to find it. She said, "What would be your message to sports teams?" Hold up. Trina, I missed it. Trina, hold on. What would be your message about sport team? You know, I guess give them a message about this, you know, about what you think about this and how to protect themselves and put them in a better position.
First and foremost, you got to wear masks, you know. But the thing that I think about is that if a kid has it and say he maybe doesn't know or the symptoms aren't there, but if he has it and he's playing a game with other kids, it's almost automatic that he's exposing other kids because they're not playing with masks on. So that's my thing is for me, if I had a kid that was playing sports, I would shut him down. Honestly, I would shut him down. It's just not worth it, you know. And then that kid brings it back home to brothers, sisters, mom, dad, granddaddy, whoever it might be, and you never know. And like I said, you might not know until it's too late.
But what about tournament officials and league officials?
Like I said, man, I know I'm not trying to hurt nobody's pocket. I understand you got to do what you got to do. But if it was me, I would shut it down.
Why would it be your responsibility to shut it down? I think it's the parents' responsibility. I mean,
and
think about it.
That's the catch-22. That's the catch-22 because if it's available, people are going to go. You know, but as a parent, like you said, you got to make that decision. You know, and I know everybody is in a rush to, you know, get that offer, go to school, this and rankings. But I mean, like again, if you're in that hospital, you're not going to be ranked nowhere, you know.
What I'm thinking about, he might not get it, but he might go get it to grandma.
Exactly.
Might go give it to somebody else. That's the point. Think about it, y'all. You remember when they first came out? It was for people 65 and over. They are susceptible to it. This man, 30-some years old, man, 36 years old. It's real, y'all. It's real. It's going down in the underground around here, man. This thing, it's I mean, you know, like just yesterday, I told you before I came on the show, you know, I get a call from a friend of mine, and he know at certain times don't call me right before the show, and he just told me, he said, Robert, man, I got to tell you, man. He said, man, you remember when I wasn't calling you in March? I mean, I don't remember, because I don't remember I told him, I don't remember if you didn't call me. And he just said, man, then he told me about what he had. He's not that old. He might be, he's 40-something. Might be 50. I don't know. But he went through a bad ordeal, man. But he just had people in his family that were what? Nurses, assistant nurses. They had all the equipment. They can bring the equipment to him. So it was, and what's so funny, Fob says sports is like drugs. I was about to make that analogy, Fob, but I didn't want to, because I wanted to say, well, they sell dope. You don't have to take that, but some people do. So, and Fob, I didn't want to do that, but thank you. I really think I don't blame nobody for giving an event. I promise you I don't. Don't get that, because my goal, if you be there in an event and then your ass be there by yourself. Because every parent that said, hey, man, I'm not coming. My baby ain't coming. But Jimmy so eloquent said yesterday, man, everybody ain't like you. I just wish more people were. And I just wish more, because those the kind of people that said, okay, they lifted, hold up, the government lifted this, went straight to the restaurant. Dude, I haven't been to a restaurant in 3 months. The hell, why I'm going to rush to go, bad as I want to go to Steak 48. I'm sorry. Go.
And that's the thing, like, you know, before I personally got it, I was in the gym. Like it was, you know, as long as I can social distance, you know, have a mask, I was fine. But having it changed me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, for me, for everybody else, it's their personal decision whether or not they want to play an event. But me personally, I don't want nothing to do with it. I don't want to be in that situation, because I've heard that it has been some good events ran where safety, you know, the safety precautions have been taking place, and that's great, you know. But just as far as me personally, after going through it, that's just my stance, you know, because I know there are, you know, some event operators that are taking all the precautions. You know, so that's just my personal opinion.
And it's good.
After going through it. Yeah, after going through it.
And Marcus, I'm going to tell you something so unique. I'm going to just tell you, and maybe people understand it. Maybe they understand me a little. It's 2 kids in this city that I have a great affinity for. 2 basketball players. Everybody know. LJ Cryer and Bryce Griggs. I used to go and watch these guys work out almost every other day. I go back and forth. I have not stepped inside of a gym to watch either one of those young men work out at all in any of these streets, however many months it's been. As bad as I wanted to, and bad as I needed to, I pretended that I had something and I didn't want to give to them young men. So I'm just telling you, it's not, listen to me, man. I was used to, check this out, going and watch those guys work out almost every day. If he wasn't working out this day, he was working out. He wasn't working out this day. Marcus, I have not seen him make a layup. If it wasn't on video, I have not seen it. And that's just me. And let me tell you something, that was a way of life for me. It was a habit. Everybody know at this certain time I'm at Bryce workout. At this time I'm at Bryce game. At this time I'm at LJ's game. Have not seen those kids. Have not seen them work out, make a layup since this COVID-19. So guess what? It's possible. Possible.
We got another question for you. and your voice is being heard literally all over the world now. We have a viewer from Germany who's watching on the YouTube feed right now. Shout out to Derek Johnson.
What's up, DJ?
I don't know what time it is over there right now. In fact, let us know what time is it, matter of fact, and what part of Germany are you in, and let us know. And he asked, will you have any long-term lung issues, or do you expect to make a full recovery?
That's a great question. That's a question I've asked myself every day, especially with like I said, the remdesivir that I took. It was emergency cleared, so they don't really know the long-term impacts that it's going to have. And that was the thing with the doctor when she asked me. It was like, do you want to try it or not? And it's like it was literally a life or death situation almost. And so I don't know what's going to happen. I have a doctor's appointment tomorrow, and I'm going to ask him more about my lungs and hopefully get another x-ray. Because of the x-rays they had when they were doing it in the hospital, they said they were, they didn't say they were good. They just said they were okay. So, I'm just praying that my lungs heal. Like I said, I still have issues breathing. I still kind of gasp for air sometimes. So I don't know if that's going to be long-term or if that's going to go away at some point. But, with pneumonia, they told me it takes weeks to months to fully heal. So I'm just trying to be patient.
Well, man, we're glad you're home. And like I say, you guys don't know, Marcus Ebo is like a nephew to me. And, his mom, he was in high school, got to know the family. As I was growing, it just started RCS Sports. Actually, during that time, I was a volunteer grassroots basketball coach as well. And Marcus, we went. I made a hell of a pass.
I heard about it, man. Don't tell that story, please. Don't tell it.
Pass. I didn't even have to make a lap, Haller. I did a quarter. I did some low tens through the quarter. That was in the summer basketball stuff. Quick, and got the hell up out of there and heard me on the other side of the fence. But one of the years I just thought about, you, Marcus Ebo, was among a group of Texas-based all-stars that went and they flew us out to Las Vegas. They picked me to coach the team. Tell us some of the people that was on that team.
Man, we was loaded, man. Darren Williams, Bracy Wright, Stephen Briggs, Seneca Wallace, Armin Kirkland, who played at Cincinnati. We were loaded, and that's why I thank you too, Hicks. I really love you. I appreciate you. You've always been in my corner, since high school. And, working your events, when people will be looking for you, they'll be like, where's your uncle at? Where's your uncle?
You look better than him, but y'all kind of got to look. Somebody that snuck over there and did a little something. Somebody that did a little kissing or something around there.
But I love Hicks and I love Hicks and Sandra. Me and my wife do. It's always love, and okay. I'm just glad to be on this show with y'all and able to share a word, and hopefully I can help somebody out. Somebody's gonna put on a mask. Somebody's gonna stay home. Somebody's gonna social distance. That's my whole purpose right now.
That's good.
Yeah, man, and hopefully the words will be well received by a lot of our viewers. Make sure, guys, if you hadn't done so, you share the show. And Marcus, if they want to, and some people may have questions that they may have not wanted to be publicly presented. Do you have a social media or an email that you might want to present? If people might want to, some people might want to get you to come and speak virtually to their workplace or to their team. And this is an opportunity because you were a head coach at Goose Creek Memorial High School. You have been a pretty popular basketball figure in the greater Houston area. So share your info if you wish to do so.
Yes, I'm on Twitter. It's at Coach Ebo. It's spelled EBOW, at Coach Ebo on Twitter. I'm also on Facebook, Marcus Ebo. And so, I I'm not really worried about basketball. I'm not worried about my job. I'm worried about helping people right now. So if anybody wants me to talk or needs an ear or just wants to vent, that's what I feel like that's what God wants me to do right now. So anybody, if I can talk to anybody, help anybody, share the story, I'm with it. 100%.
Amazing,
and
man.
give them that the way to contact you again. Give it to them one more time.
On Twitter, it's at Coach Ebo, EBOW.
Well, guys, there you have it. And I'm going to tell you, I really did have intentions on explaining to you guys the showcase versus the tournaments, divisions. But, after this conversation, that's certainly not the appropriate conversation to rehash right now. We'll take that over to Monday. And we will. And regarding to that, because a lot of people really want to know some good stuff and some tips for you guys as well. But Coach Ebo, we thank you for coming and joining us on today and sharing your story. We you guys know, it's get well, get healthy, get well, and help your family and your son. Help them to wise and I guess and inform, so they'll be able to inform others. So,
and guess what happened tomorrow, Jimmy? Guess what's going on tomorrow? I'm gonna have guess what? I'm gonna have a birthday party tomorrow, but it ain't gonna be nobody but me. My birthday. I'm so glad it's not on the chops. It's birthday, and Marcus. I'm gonna show. Let me tell you something, Jimmy. I wish what I had bought stock in. I wish I had bought me one of those little companies that put the birthday and the celebration stuff in the yard, that big old stuff in your yard, and people just pass by. Man, that stuff it's been prevalent through all out. I wish I had did that. Maybe, guess what I'm gonna do, Mark? I might put something in the yard, them big old things in the yard, say happy birthday to Robert tomorrow. I'm gonna have let me tell y'all something. You can rest assured some Moet or some Veuve Clicquot will be sipped tomorrow. And
say, man, don't let Haller fool you. He gonna be straight Ripple tomorrow. That's what he gonna be drinking. He come out that Fred Sanford era. You know what he gonna do?
Yeah, but we gonna have fun.
Wild Irish Rose.
We gonna have
that's what he gonna do.
I'm gonna have fun tomorrow. But guess what?
And a lot of the people are wishing happy birthday to Haller.
Tomorrow, so y'all wish it for me tomorrow.
Happy early birthday to Robert Haller.
Right.
And also, shout out to you guys and everybody out there for making this show great on this baby Friday. Don't forget, on Monday we have a powerful conversation, another powerful conversation, as the Chop Shop only looks to get better every day. We have Christian Dawkins. He's the young man who was the subject of the HBO show The Scheme. Remember The Scheme? Christian Dawkins was tied up and got 2 convictions as a result of that federal NCAA mess. So Christian Dawkins will be joining us live in the first public exclusive since that HBO special. And also, we have a special treat along with him. And you guess, that's a special treat that will be coming with him. And that will be his father, who everybody in the grassroots basketball scenario knows. Right. Because he's a high school coach and the guy who coached Draymond Green and all those guys up in Saginaw, Michigan. So we got Coach Dawkins, we got Christian Dawkins live on the Chop Shop on Monday. You make sure you spread the word about the Chop Shop.
Jimmy, you might have to show me how to do a Zoom meeting. I might have a Zoom birthday party tomorrow. I'm gonna have a bottle. That's what I might do, man. I might have me a Zoom. Hey, I might get big.
You're gonna take the ball and just swig it. Swig the ball.
Hey, you don't want me to show none of them videos. You don't want me to show the videos you do at your party, huh?
What video? What video?
Oh, you keep on talking. I'm gonna put it up. Keep on running your mouth.
What video?
Hold on.
Take a swig. You ain't got to drive nowhere. It's your birthday. Take a swig.
Dude, oh, here y'all go. Here y'all go. I love that boy. Hey, he did. He was what that's all I gave y'all. Man, that man there, Jimmy. I promise y'all, I won't be doing that, Barry McDonald. I won't be doing no dancing. But I don't know. And guess what? I won't have no. I got to pin my own money on me because I won't have no guests. I'm gonna be the black Macaulay Culkin. I'll be home alone. So guess what? hey, Marcus. And guess what? I don't have to wear no mask because I'm gonna be by myself. So it's gonna be fun, man. I'm gonna have a ball to
man.
But thank y'all. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody's time. It is that time. Slide on down Dino's back and yabba dabba do this thing on the Chop Shop for Robert Haller and of course our special guest Robert Ebo, yours truly Jim Hicks on this Baby Friday. It's time to slide on into the weekend. I'm yabba dabba doing this thing, guys. The Chop Shop. Peace. Y'all be good.
Jim Hicks, Rob Hatter, you are now tuned in to the Chop Shop. I'm Retro. Let's get it. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up. It's live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop.